Thank you for tuning into Indigenous Corner. Welcome if you're new here. If you've been here, I thank you for your support. Today I'll be making veggie Nigerian puff puff. And what ingredients I have here today is spinach, cucumber, celery, and apple. And I started using this because I'm juicing for weight loss. And what you would see now, it's me juicing my regular, with my regular juicer. I forgot the name right away. And it's me juicing the spinach and the celery and apples and cucumber. And I appreciate this recipe because it helps me detox. So here, the next thing I have 2 cups of flour, and you can see in the mason jar is the juicing that I had that you saw previously. And I have a cup of sugar, a dash of a dash of nutmeg, and you can see the pack of yeast in there. So here's the mason jar full of the juice that I had mentioned earlier. It's so tasty with the apples in it, and it's not so sweet, but it's just very refreshing. So I thought about, what else can I do with the juice that I get out of these vegetables, and it was really tasty, and I couldn't have had it any other way. I mean, my entire family ate up the puff puff. And puff puff you can compare puff puff with American donut holes or American donuts. So here, yes, I think I went ahead of myself. So here's the nutmeg and the active fast rising yeast. Just a pack goes with 2 cups of flour, and of course I have sugar. So what I did was mix a 1/4 cup of water with the yeast and put it aside. Okay, and I mix that with the yeast and put like a tablespoon of sugar or a teaspoon of sugar, whichever one works for you. I already put the sugar in the flour already. Yep, that's how it looks. And you put that aside for like 2 minutes or so while you're getting all the other ingredients ready. So you're gonna see the next scene where it like puffs up. I think it's called proofing the yeast, I think. So now this is where it looks. I have a very terrible lighting. I'm so sorry. So that little yeast that you saw me mixing, that's what it looks like. You can see I pour the sugar in there, and I put a dash of nutmeg in the flour, and I'll go ahead and stir in the nutmeg and the sugar to incorporate well with the flour. Yeah, I told you my light has issues. It's all broken up on my 2-year-old, thanks to him. So here's the yeast. I'm gonna go ahead and put the yeast in there. It's just a cool process. And if you're ever making bread or puff puff like this or donuts, it's always good to mix the yeast and the water and sugar and put it aside. If it proofs and rises like you see in the white bowl, that means the yeast is active. If it doesn't, throw it away, do not use it. So I'm just stirring the flour, the sugar, and the nutmeg to make sure it's well incorporated. And I love this recipe. I've never tried it before. I literally just turned the camera. I just thought about it, turned the camera on, and started doing this because I was gonna juice anyway, and I wanted to make snacks for the family. So that's what I thought of in that moment. So I poured the yeast in the flour. See how it foamed? That's what you need to see before you make your breads and your anything that has to do with yeast. So now I put a whole cup of you can see how rich and thick the juice is. It's so nice. I apologize about my light. It's so light that I had to rest my elbow on the counter. Oh goodness, what you have to do to record, So I put a whole cup of the juice water instead of using regular water. I could have used milk or water, but I used the juice. It's room temperature. I made sure the juices were room temperature. So now I stir everything up, and that's all the ingredients you need for a good puff puff. Either you use milk or water. So here's what it looks like when it's all incorporated. You want this consistency, and then you let it rest. And I do apologize. My phone I lost my battery power when it rose to twice or three times its size. When you stir this up or you mix it up like this, you go ahead and cover it up with a towel or paper towel and leave it outside in your garage or in your backyard. And then it turns out to be twice the size, and then you just put oil in the fire and you put it in your hand or ice cream scoop or however shape you want it, and you start to fry. Make sure your oil is really, really hot. And yeah, you just start to fry until it puffs up like that and it turns brown, and voila, you are ready for your veggie puff puff. It turned out really nice, and I felt like it's a healthy way of making puff puff. Not that water is bad, water is good for it. It's just an idea. With COVID-19, we just found innovative ways to make the same thing that we eat at home a little bit healthier than it would have been, okay? That way we don't, does not justify eating unhealthy, but so I put it in my hand and I squeeze it out between my index finger and my thumb, like right there. I should have done a better job. I think I will do a version 2 of this. Voila, thanks for watching. I appreciate you. And here's the final. It looks so beautiful and it tasted so good. Thank you so much for your support. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share.